Tonight, police issue a stern warning to shift workers after the bashing of a Port Lincoln taxi driver in a late-night attack, and the Transport plan to get members of the Mid-North community around town.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. A Port Lincoln taxi driver has been viciously attacked and robbed after finishing his shift over the weekend. The brazen bashing has forced police to send an urgent message to those who work late into the night.
A terrifying attack on a man just trying to do his job.
Police are very alarmed at the manner in which this incident unfolded.
At 4:40 yesterday morning, CCTV footage captures the moment 59-year-old Rob Carsley arrives back at Desis minibuses on Blackman Place after working a night shift. With the night's takings in hand, Rob enters the office to clock off for the evening, but shortly after is followed by a male who waits for him to reappear. A short time later, Rob makes his way back outside, where he is approached by the offender. A confrontation then takes place. The two then continue walking out of view of the camera. It's then he's viciously set upon and attacked by the man.
What's most alarming is the attack was quite violent. And what's just as alarming is the fact that this occurred while the taxi driver was in the course of his business.
The offender, described to be of Aboriginal appearance, aged in his 20s and wearing a dark zip-up hoodie and shorts, then takes off with the bag and leaves Rob helpless on the street. Police believe it was a planned attack.
It looks as though he deliberately did enter through a gate and sat down in a seat directly opposite the rear door.
Rob was released from hospital later that morning with minor injuries. Police issuing this message to other cab drivers.
If something doesn't quite fit, then please don't engage with the people and call police at the earliest opportunity. Police
are appealing for anyone who can identify the man or has information about the incident to come forward. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
3 youths have managed to evade Port Police in Port Lincoln after breaking into a school. At 8:40 last night, officers responded to an alarm at the school on Mortlock Terrace, where they found damage to fly screens and a door. Police soon located the intruders and gave chase, but the suspects managed to get away. Officers believe the youths were aged as young as just 10 years old. Residents in the Mid-North will soon have access to transport services. The state government is funding a 12-month regional accessibility program using existing vehicles and volunteers.
It's been 4 years in the making, and now the people of Port Pirie and the surrounding areas will be able to get on the move. The state government has approved the Moving People Pirie pilot program, granting $85,000 to help identify transport issues local residents are currently experiencing.
This program is the first in South Australia to my knowledge, and as I say, it's a pilot program. It'll go for 12 months, and then after that we'll analyse the whole lot and see if we can get better modes of transportation for people around Port Pirie and the surrounding areas.
Increase the usage of public transport, the increasage of community transport, and to go on and improve transport in our region.
Facilities that are there, be it a bus, taxi, there's the Northern Passenger Service which runs from Melrose, and that's a really good service for around the area as well.
The program's designed to help locals to understand all of their transport options.
People will go in not having a huge amount of success getting around to coming out the other end and being able to move around the Port Pirie region with a lot more ease.
It's hoped the Moving People Pirie pilot program will create a stronger, healthier and more inclusive community.
Social equity increases with mobility. So if you can access services and you can meet people in your community, your mental health improves, your general health improves.
Basically the old-fashioned community spirit. It's for locals, by locals.
And local member Jeff Brock is proud to be trialling the program in Port Pirie.
And this community has always been a very innovative community, so here we are again leading the state with innovation.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Police are renewing calls for information as part of an investigation into a break-in at a Saddleworth church earlier this year. Between the 15th and the 19th of July, a number of items were pinched from the Catholic Church on the Barrier Highway. They include brass objects and silver religious artefacts and utensils, including several candlestick holders, brass tabernacle, multiple flower vases and a projector unit. A silver baptismal jug and plate, which belonged to several churches in the Mid-North region, was also taken. Anyone who has seen seen any of these items for sale or knows of their whereabouts is asked to come forward. The Christmas lights display in Broken Hill's Town Square has been targeted by heartless vandals. Floodlights used to illuminate the area were found smashed and strewn around the town square earlier Saturday morning. As a result, the display has had to be scaled down. Broken Hill Police are calling for anyone with information to come forward. Port Pirie Regional Council says it's received an overwhelming response to a collective solar power buying program in a bid to reduce the cost of living. Council is now investigating the most economic way to go about the service, as Rachel Nell explains.
With electricity prices on the rise across the state, Port Pirie Regional Council devised a plan to bring energy prices down.
Community were having trouble with some of the cost of living increases, in particular electricity, and we decided to see what we could do collectively as a community to reduce those costs.
So far, the project's had a significant response. 85% of people who are interested in the project living in the Port Pirie area, 11% live in Crystal Brook and the remainder from Red Hill and Kalunga.
We've had approximately 750 residents, which is fantastic, and now we'll go out in a tender process to drive the price of solar down for each of those residents.
The original aim of the project was to secure a 5 kilowatt system. However, due to the wide-ranging interest, Council is also investigating other ideas to ensure a payment plan of $19 a week over a 4-year period is maintained.
The standard we were looking at when we went out to the expression of interest was a 5 kilowatt system, which is a large enough system for a 4-person household, so 2 adults and 2 children. And we were trying to get the price around about $19 per week.
Hints on how to reduce your energy consumption and lowering electricity prices will be shared at an Energy Smart Saver presentation by a solar energy expert this Wednesday night.
And this is the opportunity to go and listen to John Dee, who is specifically providing an additional session to what he normally briefs community on around how you best manage solar power.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Coming up after the break here on Southern Cross News, a popular hotspot in Broken Hill receives nearly $1 million worth of government funding for an upgrade. Details next. The cruise ship season will officially get underway in Port Lincoln tomorrow when the ocean liner Pacific Jewel docks in the harbour. It's one of 3 cruise ships scheduled to arrive before the new year, followed by 2 arriving during Tunarama. The region is set to host more than 11,000 passengers this season, which will inject more than $1 million into the local economy. It's good news. Residents in Broken Hill South have received an early Christmas present. The much-loved Patton Street Park is set to receive a major upgrade after Council secured close to $1 million worth of funding.
It certainly had its setbacks, but an upgrade to Patton Street Park is now a goer.
And it was great to see the funding come through this time.
Council was successful in its application for funding from the New South Wales Government, receiving over $800,000 for a range of rejuvenation projects. The local tennis association will receive $150,000 for court resurfacing, while the Broken Hill Pony Club will spend $20,000 on a new toilet block. But Patton Park is the major beneficiary, collecting over $600,000.
That'll see a significant upgrade. There'll be new barbecues, new play equipment, new paths, and also new disability-friendly toilets, which is something that this facility really needs.
The upgrade follows the installation of a new clock over the front gates earlier this year. Council says the park is a southern hotspot for all members of the community.
I think it's probably no secret that the South residents have been doing it a little tough of late. They've lost amenities and shops, so it's good that this upgrade will be able to give them a premier facility.
The upgrade wasn't without its setbacks though, with an earlier funding application being knocked back in July.
Yeah, we had applied for this upgrade through previous funding streams and they weren't successful, but we understand that not every application can be successful. But at the time we made an undertaking that we would continue to pursue this project as we think it's quite a worthy one.
But now Council hopes it's smooth sailing heading into 2018.
That's a nice way to finish the year for us, and we'll look into how we can utilise that money in the new year and try and bring the project to fruition.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, it's Christmas pageant time again, when the streets of Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Broken Hill are awash with tinsel and, of course, the man in the big red suit. Communities came together over the weekend to officially launch the start of their festive seasons.
A frosty start to Port Augusta's pageant day didn't dampen the Christmas spirit.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
As the rain gauge filled to 13 mils on Friday, crowds were filled with excitement for the parade. Luckily for them, the rain held off.
We're a little bit concerned with the weather. That might put a few people off and put some floats off. But either way, there was still some really good floats and people have really stepped up some good quality in some of the floats, so well done to them.
Many community groups displayed their hard work. For the SES, its new heights of creativity proved a big hit.
When that fireman was standing on top of the gingerbread house.
For the West Augusta Bulldogs, it was their 2017 Premiership victory lap, 2 months in the making. A chance to show the whole town that winners are indeed grinners. Everyone in the pageant, even the mayor, spreading the Christmas cheer.
When you're in the car and you're going down there and you can actually judge the crowd, there's definitely as strong a numbers as last year without a doubt, and a lot of smiles and a lot of cheer, which is good. That's what Christmas is about.
You know, everybody's coming around, getting into town, and it's a good feeling.
For many kids, the highlight was treats of all types.
I catch all these.
But most of all, it was one man's grand arrival to Port Augusta that made their day.
He had a curly beard. And he had some glasses.
The one and only Santa.
Definitely the Santa Claus one.
I like Santa. I love Santa.
Definitely.
Yep.
Port Augusta wasn't his only stop this weekend. In a whirlwind regional visit, the man in red made his way to Port Pirie on Saturday, greeting boys and girls on Memorial Drive. And in a pageant of princesses, presents and big machinery, the man in red delighted crowds in Broken Hill. With only 3 weeks to go till Christmas, like many families in the region, there's no doubt Santa will be a busy man.
Christmas is a cheerful time, and that's what it should be. It's a time to sort of unwind and share some good times and celebrate with family and friends and the community as well. So I think the next few weeks we'll see that sort of good spirit and good vibe continue through to Christmas as well.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
In the news ahead, a short film festival of a different kind gets underway in Broken Hill. That's next. Well, hundreds have flocked to Broken Hill's Sturt Park for a unique cinematic experience. The first of its kind, the Perfect Light Film Festival has put the Silver City under a solar spotlight.
Sunlight, camera, action.
It was a great idea, and hopefully it's the first of a lot more to come.
Despite the chilly conditions, hundreds attended the short film festival, which, in a world first, was powered by the sun.
Broken Hill's got an amazing film history. The birthplace of one of my most favourite Australian films, which of course was Wake in Fright, and Mad Max 2, Priscilla, a whole history of great cinema.
And as the sun set, the night was star-studded, not just in the sky, but also in the judges' seats. Wentworth actress Nicole De Silva, Mad Max 2 star Steve Bisley and Mad Max Fury Road's Quentin Kernahan were just 3 of the big-name guest list.
You don't need a big camera. You can start on your phones. You know, it's just about getting involved. You know, and you can be part of it. It's just a whole lot of fun. You know, being one of the judges is a blessing.
And of course, being a short film festival, there were some films on show. 15 in total from across the country. Local filmmaker Jason King had 2 in the final shortlist, including 1 starring yours truly.
You will follow my instructions exactly. Do you understand?
What do you want?
I want what money can't buy.
Jason took home second prize for his nail-biting thriller.
To be honest, I'm really, and it sounds cliche, but I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to show the film here in front of my community and share it with them.
Organisers say the aim is to make the Perfect Light Film Festival an annual event and have the Silver City play host for years to come.
Yeah, look, the idea is that this goes on. I'd like to see this continue for the next 10 years or as long as you guys will have me.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, with cricket fans and the region's players off holding their breath for the Adelaide Day-Night Ashes test, it's been business as usual for our basketball teams this week. Amelia Simpson joins us now. Amelia, some close competition on the courts this week.
Fraser, our teams are definitely grateful they're indoors with all the heat and rain we've had in the last week. In the men's division, the Cobras are continuing their unbeaten streak with a 15-point lead over this week's victims, the Titans. Wildcats Red, however, gained a 30-point lead over bottom of the ladder Eagles, who'll have to see if they can redeem themselves with the season's halfway mark fast approaching. Josh Forrest scoring 15 points for Wildcats there. In the women's games, Falcons Black gave Spartans a 38-point thrashing with 16 goals from Tyler Jackson. Spartans Grey couldn't hold their ground to Falcons Yellow, who cleaned up the game 55-29 with Juanita Callion scoring 22 points for the winning team. In Pirie's men's, leading Pacers suffered an out-of-character loss to third-ranking Globetrotters, who cleaned up 48-35. Second-ranking Tomcats trailed behind Ducks in their second quarter in what turned out to be a close game. They only managed just a 5-point lead. In the women's, top-ranking Globetrotters maintained a 10-point lead over Patriots, and Pacers shot down Pacers White, cleaning up 66-43. In Whyalla, big wins in the women's. Demons 2 couldn't get their game off the ground, while Titans cleaned them up 20-0. Demons 1, however, had more luck with Rupina, finishing the game with an 11-point lead. Closer games in Whyalla's men's, Wildcats gaining a 9-point lead over Demons, and Rupina downing Bevan by 1 point, a nail-biter there for sure. In Lincoln's women's, wins for Rangers Blue, Waybacks and Rangers White cleaned up Lincoln South 56-7. With Peckers Green on a bye this week, the men's game saw Lincoln South's Yellow, Rangers White and Rangers Blue thrash their opponents. To the Silver City's men's basketball, Scorchers lost to Ramjets. North Bulldogs thrashed Harley's team with a 66-point lead. Suns just stayed on top of Sumpton Boys, while the under-18 Broncos cleaned up the senior freeballers with an 8-point win. To Whyala's A-grade baseball, the Roadrunners cleaned up Tigers 6-4. And finally, for Port Pirie's tennis, Trinity Gold defeated Railway Green. So some great games here in the region this week. Our cricket tipsters will be back in action on Friday. Now, if you've got some local sports results you want seen here, don't forget to drop us a line at localsport@sca.com.au. Fraser?
Good on you, Amelia. Amelia Simpson reporting from Port Lincoln there. Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll have all the local weather details. Welcome back to the weather now. A cooler day across the region after last week's mixed bag of weather. It hit 22 in Port Augusta, 22 also with some showers in Whyalla, a similar story in Port Pirie, 20 in Port Lincoln, 21 was the top in Broken Hill. On the satellite, patchy cloud over the southeast and an unstable southerly flow is generating a few light showers. On our waters, southeasterly winds shifting southwesterly between 10 and 15 knots, seas up to 1.5 metres. Sunrise at 6:01, sunset just before 8:20. Looking at tomorrow, heading for 25 in Port Augusta, 23 in Whyalla, 20 for Port Lincoln, 24 the top with mostly clear skies in Broken Hill, cloudy in Cleve, 21. Looking ahead, some showers and wind about on Thursday for Port Lincoln, 18 degrees. A similar story for Cleve and Woodner, 20 and 23 degrees on Friday. Further up the Gulf, a warm day, 26 for Wednesday in Whyalla, 30 degrees with clear skies in Port Augusta. Showers will sweep over on Thursday for 24, Kadina climbing up to 26 before dropping back to 23. And finally, looking ahead in Port Pirie, they'll enjoy a beautiful day, 27 on Wednesday there. Showers will creep in on Thursday, but will clear up for 23. A similar story for Clare, and Broken Hill will enjoy a warm 28 and 30 for Wednesday and Thursday, before hitting 24 to end the working week. And that's all the news to now. Thanks for your company. We'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.